Whoa, what did I hit? Oh, okay. Hopefully that wasn't during the time they did our thing.
No. Well, good morning, everybody. It is 9 o'clock. You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal. We begin this morning right now with a live picture of a crash that will affect the drive on 85 or 485 rather. And this is on the outer loop. It is mile marker 19. As you can see there, left lane is taken away, causing delays. This is near WT Harris Boulevard. And so on the outer side, left lane taken away for another hour at least is what our original estimate from DOT was. And you can see there in the background that backup is pretty extensive. So we'll keep an eye on that. A crash that happened just before 8 o'clock, so over an hour ago. But the tow trucks are on scene, and it looks like they have just that left lane taken away. Something to keep in mind this morning as you make your way out the door, as we are continuing to follow some national news out of Washington. Of course, President Trump working to turn the focus now from the Epstein files, speaking at an AI event. We'll bring that AI event recorded from yesterday to you here in a few minutes. But the DOJ is expected to meet Jeffrey Epstein's partner when he was alive and during his trafficking days, and she is facing charges still, so in prison. In the meantime, Alice Barr in Washington with the latest on where they are with these Epstein files.
New developments this morning in the push for transparency in the Jeffrey Epstein case, coming from both sides of the aisle.
I mean, you'd have to have your head in the sand to say that this is going to go away.
In a bipartisan vote, a House subcommittee moved to subpoena the Justice Department to release full files on the notorious sex offender. Also seeking subpoenas for high-profile names, including former President Clinton and a string of past attorneys general, having already subpoenaed convicted Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell for a deposition next month. The Deputy Attorney General is expected to meet with her soon. An attorney who represented more than 200 Epstein victims says they are deeply anxious that Maxwell could be pardoned.
What incentive does she have to tell him anything if she's getting nothing out of it?
That as the Wall Street Journal is out with new reporting that President Trump is named in the Justice Department's Epstein files. The paper, citing senior administration officials, also notes that Attorney General Pam Bondi told the president in May that his name appears multiple times along with many other high-profile figures. President Trump was asked about that last week.
Did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing.
A DOJ official tells NBC News a mention of anyone would not necessarily suggest wrongdoing. And the Attorney General said nothing in the files warranted further investigation or prosecution, while the White House is roundly rejecting the Journal's reporting. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And here on the state level, we are just getting word now of some breaking news, an update for another candidate to turn their hat in for a Senate run in the Tar Heel state. This is Republican Chair Michael Whatley. He is expected to make an announcement and expected to run for Senate in North Carolina. You may recall that he was close on the campaign trail following President Trump's candidacy and campaign during his campaign years, and he constantly was in North Carolina making his bid on behalf of President Trump. But now he is intending to run for the Senate seat in the North Carolina election. And of course, we did hear that former Governor Roy Cooper also throwing his hat in for a Senate seat as well. So that is the latest update now for a couple of the new candidates that are going to be announcing their run for North Carolina Senator. All right, let's take a look right now. Are we?
Yes.
What's up, Carlene? We are taking a look right now at some breaking news.
Yes.
This is a crash near Bank of America Stadium in Uptown. We just got our photographer there at the scene. According to, we have just very, very, very minimal information right now, not many details. from our photog on the scene, it appears to be a motorcycle crash with some pieces scattered around here. You can see the police and the caution tape up there. This is at South Mint Street at Graham. So obviously a busy part of Uptown, kind of the heart of Uptown.
Yep.
Let's see. I don't have any info about it. Injuries at this point. It just says serious.
But yeah,
accident.
you can see that. I recognize the
little
some of
flaggies.
the flags for the Panthers, of course. But they're saying a serious crash. So a live picture now from our photojournalist Phil, who is on the scene trying to grab some images for us. But looking at this, you can just tell it's going to cause a bit of a backup trying to get around the stadium and Uptown. So something to keep in mind. Again, the location reported South Mint Street at Graham Street / Stonewall Street. And we will monitor things here. It looks like traffic on the opposite side is able to squeeze through potentially, but it doesn't take much to cause a jam up and domino effect for the Uptown area, right there in the heart of Uptown near Bank of America Stadium. Speaking of which, of course, yesterday was the first full day of training camp for the Carolina Panthers. It seems to be an exciting time.
Yeah.
The energy, the words we're hearing are
Nick Sturdivant, who
optimism.
is a Panthers fan through and through, is pumped.
He is so pumped.
He is so pumped.
And then, of course, our crew there on scene also gathering, the images there, and the first full day a press conference held for media. Let's go ahead and this previously recorded press conference from Coach Dave Canales and gang here on WCNC
carryover from the spring, talking to the guys. Biggest difference is just, I think, the collective care of the units, talking, the communication. A lot of talking out there. Defense was hard to go against today. Just a lot of just communication, lining up properly, attacking the ball. So a really good day there. Offensively, we got going a little bit too. But defense made it hard, throwing the ball down the field a little bit sometimes, which is good, which is what we expect. Also, just the focus of this group. It's a very serious, very focused group. They're intent on just continuing to come together. We've talked about that collectively, just how quickly can we come together and play football as one. And that's really the goal right now of training camp. And, I think the last part of it is the competition that I'm looking for in practice, the competition within each position group, which we'll be able to get into here a little bit, to see guys battling all the way through the depth, for places on this team is really exciting to me. And it elevates the practice. It elevates the energy. It elevates the intentionality, and guys just really, trying to find their best and making each other better as a result of that, which is going to be our goal. So I'm excited about just getting it started off.
Aside, did you have to remind Princely and everybody that you got to take care of teammates after that last play where he got his hand on Bryce?
Absolutely. A really close one. A great rush. Exactly why he's here. Is to be able to affect the passer, and just came really tight around that corner and kind of nicked Bryce, on the arm right there. The ball comes out, and that's really not what we want to see. I want to see that first part of it, though, and just the great bend and flexibility and power that he has in his rushes. So even some of the veteran guys, we come up at the end, and they're like, hey, don't back off of that. Just be smart at the top, okay? This is all of us. We got to take care of each other at that moment. Those decisions down the field, the decisions in the pocket. So, yeah, that's something that we had to talk about.
Dave, how would you handle that, though, when guys are trying to make a play and trying to do something but not trying to do too much?
With a lot of grace, with a lot of understanding. This is a violent sport, a violent game. These guys are getting in their stances. They've been working on all their pass rush techniques all summer. They go through a great individual, and they're smacking the crap out of the bag, which we have the ball kind of positioned in a place to attack the elbow of the quarterback. And so, it's that hardwired training, and you have to just be able to have the presence of mind right there in those moments. So.
Describe your feeling walking out here for your second training camp versus last year when you didn't know a whole lot?
Oh, it feels great. I just honestly, it really starts with the players. I think it's more just they understand the expectation of what a great practice looks like for us from start to finish, the transition in between. Everybody's moving around. That when you're not in, you're talking football, and all those things are happening, and so it feels a lot different knowing that I have a group of leaders that have my back, and that understand the expectation that myself and the coaching staff is looking for.
Dave, you bring up the leaders. Josie Jewell got released. How is that situation handled from your perspective?
Yeah.
How long did you kind of know that this could be a possibility? And then also, what was the conversation like yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, we had to adhere to the normal concussion protocol, which we did. We did all that. And first, to talk about Josie, you talk about a leader. Guy didn't say a lot. When he talked, people listened. The toughness, the character, the aggressive style of play, always making plays on the ball. You know, throughout his career, the reason why we brought him here, and I think for me as a first-year head coach last year, to have somebody that I could point to who really exemplifies the type of effort, the type of physicality, the character. He's a no-nonsense guy. You know, he wants guys to just look at the truth of what it was, get to the bottom of it and fix it, and he was always at the heart of those conversations. So it's a big loss, definitely for us from that standpoint, you know. And then as far as the rest of it, we just kind of had to take it at, you know, at Josie's pace, and with all the specialists that were working with him, you know, Dan and Brant, you know, worked with the agent and talked to them, and we felt like this was the best outcome right now, with the first, you know, and most important thing for Josie is getting healthy, you know, and getting him to a place where he can make that sound decision on playing football, which he wants to do, you know, or whatever is after that. So I'm proud of the fact that we just had upfront conversations throughout the whole time, and, you know, that's what I appreciated about the interaction.
To follow up on that, when we talked to you in March, you were kind of glowing about the signing of Roseboom.
Yeah.
You obviously drafted Trevin.
Yep.
What's the outlook for those two guys as you head into this second summer?
It's great opportunities for that whole group. You know, you start with those guys. Christian obviously had like 136 tackles or something last year, played on a playoff defense, really played probably the best year of his career, you know, last year. And for us to be able to have him here is huge. But you talk about a guy like Claude Charalis, you know, Jacoby Windman, Bam Martin Scott, you know, CV Nomura coming in from Fresno State, and then, you know, John Radigan. It's a really talented young group. They're very athletic. They got aggressiveness to the style of play. They fit what we're looking for. So it's a great opportunity for those guys.
What do you know about Bryce today that you didn't know this time of year ago?
I don't know. I don't know that I see anything new necessarily. My expectation for Bryce is to lead this team, which he never stopped doing all throughout last year, even with the challenges that it presented. But he just came right back in, and, you know, from the moment we went out there for center quarterback exchange, it's like his familiarity with the system, you know, his command of everything is just like we just picked up where we left off in the spring, you know, to be able to push our concepts and our systems forward, which is really the goal, is can we master this so we can add little nuances. And so I feel like, you know, coming in with the type of rhythm and the type of command gives us a chance to continue to grow those things.
What kind of head start does that give you, having being in the second year now of this system?
Yeah, it just really, you know, having guys being in the system now for a while just gives us a chance to continue to push on the most important parts of it, the effort part of what we're trying to get. A lot of times when you have a bunch of people thinking, the whole thing kind of slows down a little. It's very mechanical, very methodical, and what I'm feeling out here are guys who understand what we're doing, and I can always tell by the speed of play. The faster we're playing, the more I know they understand what we're doing and where they need to be on any given, whether it's defense, offense, or special teams. So I really feel that jump with this whole group.
What's the next step for Bryce, and how does he take it?
Honestly, we look at like short-term goals. We look at just the command like we talked about, owning the whole system, and I think really just allowing us to have the nuances, the complements of all the different things. As we master a concept, there are things and answers that come off of it. So it's how quickly can we get to that point as a group, and then we can continue to just push the envelope and find new things.
Dave, Damani had that pick earlier in practice. How much has he kind of grown from last year, coming in as an undrafted guy, to being a guy who's competing for a starting job?
You know, he's got a knack for the ball. It started last year, you know, so he shows up again on the first day with an interception on a ball that was slightly overthrown there, and he went, you know, from the middle of the field and made a great play on that. But I think, again, it's kind of goes to the same thing. It's watching him communicate. I think if you're asking for one specific thing, it's watching him talk. He's got to be connected with the corner, the nickel, the calls that are coming with motions and all those things. And I think that's probably the biggest growth that I see from Damani, is his level of comfort in our system to be able to talk loudly. You know, I think sometimes the guys kind of, you know, sheepishly will whisper something out there, but when you can hear them loud and they own it and they're demonstrative, you know that they really have grown, you know, to the understanding of the concepts.
Can you give us updates on the timeline with Tommy and Bobby and Sam.
Yeah, Tommy. So Tommy's gonna have to progress week to week for us. He's doing great. I want to say he's ahead of schedule, but I just know we're going to just take this thing as it comes. But right now he's making great strides. He looks strong in his rehab and all that. So I'm not sure exactly timeline wise. I wouldn't say Tommy's going to be back soon, like within the next couple weeks. But you know, I think 3 or 4 weeks or something like that as we evaluate it could potentially be there. And then Bobby got imaging and all the things. It's a hamstring. He did some stuff. I saw him out today before practice. He was down there running, changing direction already. So he's already starting on a pretty good curve. So I hope to get him back pretty soon. Sam Martin's kind of in the same world that way, you know. So it was something we have to be precautionary about. We don't want to throw him back out there. They didn't clear for us right away. So, but I think he's probably on a similar timeline.
Finally won him.
Yeah.
Did a lot today.
Yeah, we're just honestly being smart with DJ. You know, he's had a couple of different things. Obviously, he came in with the quad injury, and so we're just having to make sure that we're able to progress him into camp the right way. So we're going to be smart about DJ. He's going to be a big part of what we're doing.
What about Dan?
We'll do a couple more.
Yeah, Dan's progressing back from a calf. So again, I don't know exactly the specific timeline for Dan, but he is doing some on-ground stuff. I wouldn't say he's at the same markers as Bobby and Sam, but I think he's probably right behind them there. So we hope we get Dan back in there.
What's a successful season look like this season?
Yeah, just weekly growth, you know, and right now our focus is having a great camp. You know, for me, it's owning the system and working ourselves into condition to where we can be ready to play week 1. That's the focus, you know, and I think with this group, you know, with just talking to the guys in the team meeting, with the group that we've brought together, how quickly can we play together? How quickly can we communicate and show that style of football that we want to put out there, you know? And I think that the sky's the limit for this group. You know, I think that this is going to be a very competitive team. I don't think people are going to want to play us by the style of football that we play. I'm expecting that. My expectations are really high for this group. They are every year, you know, and we're going to shoot for as good as we can get. My language to the group is, I want to make sure we maximize the talent in this room. That'll take us as far as we need to go, but that's going to be our focus.
You mentioned communication in the secondary. How quickly has Trayvon kind of become a voice back there for all of those guys?
Yeah, he's a veteran player. He cares. You know, if he's not on the field, he's standing right next to Ronaldo Hill, our safeties coach, and they're talking about concepts that just happened. They're talking about run fits. They're talking about adjustments, and he's just so into it, you know. And I can't talk about him without talking about Turk Wharton. You know, the guy's just, when he's out there, he's the Energizer Bunny, and when he's on the side, he's always talking technique, hand placement, footwork, with the veteran guy, with the young guy. And it's just the guys that we love who are just, they have a passion for football, a passion for their craft, and I'm really excited that they're here.
Energy. Do you feel less pressure to bring the energy this year or produce energy out on the field than you did a year ago?
I wouldn't say that. I think my mentality is to just try to make sure that in the meeting, when we get our day started, that we have the right mindset, that our focus is in the right place. Today is the most important day we have. It's the only one we have. Can we maximize these days, you know, and especially with the acclimation period, you know, as we ramp up these practices, when we start now, the opportunities are fewer and far between, so we have to maximize the work. We have to maximize the individual drills, the 7-on-7 periods, the team periods, which are a lot shorter right now. When you're in there, maximum effort. Let's get ourselves into game shape. The only way to play fast is to play fast out here on the field. Practice is everything. And so my job is to just keep those guys locked into that mentality. I know it gets more challenging as we get deeper into camp, you know. So right now, everyone's excited, everyone's fired up, and they feel great. You know, and the goal for them is to have that recovery so they can keep playing at full speed, so we can keep throwing practices like we did today.
All right, thank you, bro.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dave. No, he was already going to want to play.
Like, who has like the craziest like little off season, like something, like go somewhere crazy, experience something. If anyone has something that's like, I for sure got something that's the best here. Anyway, I know someone's got something these last couple months.
I saw a turtle nest hatch.
A turtle nest hatch, like live.
78 baby turtles.
Life. What a beautiful thing. Anyone else?
What are your stories?
Here we go. Here we go. Me, I don't got no, you know.
We saw you on the boat. The Minnesota Lake Day.
Yeah, exactly. That was fun. Going out to the lake with the guys was fun. Got to have a couple of days away from here, away from kind of where anyone was at. Just being able to meet in like a neutral site is always fun. So I say that was a highlight for me.
You don't like lake water because you weren't fooling with it.
I'll be honest with you. I don't mind water. I don't like sitting around like being wet, if that makes sense. Like I don't like seeing like after you get out the water, like you know, like your clothes, like your shorts is wet. Like I don't like that feeling. I'll be honest with you. So that's why.
Anyway, so, the end of practice, Princely looked like he kind of jarred the ball loose. Did you guys have to have a conversation after that one?
I mean, I didn't have to say anything, but you know, that's competition. It's football. You know, obviously, you know, there's some etiquette stuff in football, but young guy getting after his first day out here in training camp, and shoot, we want to see those plays on Sundays. You know, he's a competitor. We're all competitors. We want to be getting each other better. So, you know, obviously we want to take care of each other, practice and all that, but I love what he's doing. I love what he stands for. You know, he's on my team at the end of the day. So see him do stuff like that is great. So we love the competition.
You targeted Hunter quite a bit. He's obviously coming back after a year away. What have you noticed about him working with him the last, I guess during the offseason program?
Yeah, just seeing his, he has such a great feel for the game. Versus man, versus zone, he just has a great knack for getting open. He understands concepts, understands defensive leverage, does a really good job at the top of routes, creating separation, giving indicators, really friendly and easy to throw to as a quarterback. So, super excited to continue to build chemistry with him.
Bryce, I saw you after those first couple of throwing drills kind of pump up the crowd that's not there. What's the vibe like without fans here at training camp, and how do you guys kind of make up for that?
Yeah, we just got to bring our juice. Obviously we love the fans, we love support, and for us, fans aren't there during the season. Obviously, we have to make sure that we're bringing our own energy. There's enough competition between all of us just to stay focused. And at the end of the day, it's a blessing to be out here. I play football for a living. I'm super blessed. I'm super grateful. We're all living our dreams. So, just leaning on that, having the positivity with that, and just understand it's a privilege to be out here. So, I think just having that energy within ourselves is big.
I also saw that Mike, Jack, and JC were really near you guys in the quarterback drills early. What was that all about?
Yeah, competing. Again, it's they're great competitors, great players. And right now, training camp is we'll be a team on Sundays, but right now it's offense versus defense. So we're going back and forth with each other. Just want to make each other better and make the team better.
Yesterday, he thinks there's a vibe about this team. Thinks y'all could surprise some people. Folks like Dan Patrick have said that. Are you kind of picking up on a similar vibe too, that this team's ready to take the next step?
Yeah, we have confidence within ourselves. We understand that comes from training camp, though. I believe in everyone in the locker room. We all believe in each other, but we have to put the work in. We know that this is the time to get better, to continue to grow as a team, to continue to forge our identity, and to carry into the to the regular season. So, we feel great. We're confident, but also we know we have a lot of work to do.
So much was made of the continuity year two under Dave. Could you is this where you really start to feel that at training camp? That sort of where everything's just a little bit faster maybe than it was last year?
Yeah, I think all of us as a team, having a year last year and then going into this year of just buying into the culture, buying into coach's message, buying into everything that he presents to us on a day-to-day basis. We've already bought in, and now it's just making it our own, and that's something that coach always stresses, which is big for us. We've had that experience now, so obviously having the same coaching staff with just who this coaching staff is. We're super grateful for them to be here, what they bring. So, we have a lot of work to do, but we're grateful for it.
What do you see different in Dave as he starts his second season that wasn't there last year?
No, I mean he's the same consistent guy, just like he was last year. Every single day, from the first time he addressed the team to the last, he's the same person in meetings, in the practice field, and from a player standpoint, you really respect that consistency. You know what you're going to get from him. You know what it is he stands for, and that's a reflection of the entire coaching staff as well. They do a great job of just being the same person every day. That's all you really can ask for as a player. So, I think that it just speaks volumes that now that we've been around them longer and longer, they're staying the same level of consistency as teachers.
What you learned about him being able to make the tough call to bench you 2 games in the last year?
Yeah, obviously he's going to do whatever he feels like makes the team better. It's the same thing I want to do. We're all Panthers first, and we all are bought into the organization.
Bryce, Coach Reich said you ran into him on the street Monday night or something. Tell us about you were in a car apparently and pulled over and talked to him.
Yeah. I was just randomly saw Coach Reich, which was really cool. I always have a ton of love for Coach Reich. We still keep in contact. That was who drafted me, who was the reason why I'm here, which I'm super grateful for. It was great seeing him. He had his guys too. I'm super happy for him at his spot as well.
Has he given you any advice that you're able to share?
Just support. Same thing. He's been a coach for a long time, so he understands just how it is. He has a lot of respect for this coaching staff and the unit and just organization as a whole. So just always supported, which I definitely appreciate.
Bryce, how much has T-Mac kind of relied on you to get ready for his first NFL training camp?
Yeah, I think that I appreciate him for just wanting to have open communication, open dialogue. He's someone who always wants to talk, always wants to be on the same page, always wants to learn from anyone, from other receivers, coaches. So I think we're relying on each other, as we all do, just within the team. We give each other that comfort to have confidence and to go into the year how we want to feel. And then right now, obviously in training camp is when we continue to earn that.
What's your take on flag football being an Olympic sport? I don't think we've asked you about it. If something you would ever entertain?
Yeah, I think it's awesome. It's really cool to see. Obviously, it's great to see the game expanding, both men's and women's. Especially in younger levels, it's really cool to see. So seeing the Olympics is it's really cool.
The chance to, like in your case or anyone's case, to represent the country and try to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think for anyone, I think anyone would say that's obviously that would be a huge honor for anyone. Olympics is always, it's an amazing event. It speaks for itself. So yeah, I think it's a great opportunity.
Obviously, you've done this a couple of times now, so you know what to expect. And like you said, you have the consistency with Dave. But just where's your confidence level at heading into this camp versus the last couple of years?
Yeah, I'm super confident. Again, that comes from just this building. Being able to rely on my teammates, coaching staff, who's around me. That's really what I get my confidence from. And I'm grateful to be a part of the organization.
No real lull between you and JC there, just like Jerry.
Yeah. Again, just competitors. It brings the best out of both of us. Appreciate you guys.
Shots fired at Phil.
How's it going? Good.
I'm sure you were aware at some level, but of Josie's situation and kind of how that all played out.
Yeah, I think obviously a lot of that is probably behind the scenes that we don't know. But I was kind of more just on the side of worrying about him as a human, and him going forward. So I think that was kind of the first thing on my mind. That's just something that it's a little bit bigger than football. So as far as how that goes with the contracts and all that, it's a lot bigger, than that for sure.
Maybe not how you wanted to get here, but really elevates your spot on this defense. Could you address that?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's definitely not the way. That's just how football is, though, And like I said earlier, you care about him as a human first and foremost, and it was great to get to know him and hopefully continue that relationship. And
all right, we will get back to that recorded press conference from day one for Carolina Panthers training camp. Day two is today, of course, and we will be talking to our sports director, Nick Carboni, in the 10 o'clock hour. In the meantime, at 9:30 here on Live Impact News on WCNC+, we want to talk about a troubling new report released today that reveals North Carolina traffic fatalities have surged 29% over the last decade, despite recent improvements. So joining us right now to discuss these findings and potential solutions is Rocky Moretti, a spokesperson for TRIP, as well as a co-author for today's report. Rocky, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for inviting me to talk about this.
Yeah, an important topic here because we talk traffic all the time and the roads and infrastructure, but TRIP, the National Transportation Research Nonprofit, found this surge in North Carolina higher than the national average of 20%, I believe. What is driving this trend?
Yeah, unfortunately, North Carolina and really the whole country is facing a traffic safety crisis. In North Carolina, we have seen a 29% increase in traffic fatalities over the last decade, from approximately 1,300 in 2014. Last year, it was 1,659. The bottom line is these numbers are utterly unacceptable. They have a huge impact on North Carolina, most critically, obviously, on people impacted. You know, these are terrible tragedies. And we are really calling this out to the public. It starts with the public, who need to do a better job of in terms of driving on the state's roads and bridges, but very critically also looking at steps that the state needs to take to make the system safer for everybody.
Yeah, the report shows fatalities have dropped slightly since 2021, but still well above 2014 levels. Are we heading in the right direction then, or is this just a temporary improvement?
Unfortunately, what we've seen across the country, and certainly in North Carolina, is that we had started to see an uptick in traffic fatalities around 2018 and 2019. And unfortunately, the COVID pandemic seemed to be a trigger for a significant reduction in driver behavior. And so over the last 5 years, we've seen a 22% increase in speeding-related traffic fatalities. We've also seen significant impact in distracted driving and also in people in impaired driving. And so these are troubling trends. And, you know, for example, the actual rate when it's measured per 100 million miles of travel in North Carolina is up 15%. So it's not just because there's more travel, because the state is growing, certainly. It is, unfortunately, drivers are taking greater risks. And so we need to do a better job of educating the public on being more careful. And this also impacts pedestrian and bicyclists, which account for 17% of traffic fatalities in North Carolina. And so the real challenge in the transportation community is certainly to educate the public, to ramp up enforcement, because if people are going to speed and drive impaired, we need to make sure they suffer consequences, but then very critically take steps to make the system safer for motorists, pedestrian, and bicyclists.
What is making our roads so dangerous then for pedestrians and bicyclists?
Well, certainly we've seen also a significant increase in fatalities among pedestrian and bicyclists. To some extent, it reflects, I think, that we're perhaps healthier, more active, more people are walking and riding their bikes. So these are all very positive for people, for their health and quality of life. But we certainly, particularly in urban areas, need to make sure that when people are on their bikes, when they're walking places, that the infrastructure itself keeps them safe from vehicles.
I want to talk about the economic impacts, because it really trickles down to that as well. What are you talking about in costs and quality of life costs?
We point out in the report that the total annual cost in 2024 of serious and fatal traffic crashes in North Carolina was $72 billion. there's two components of that. The $18 billion costs are strictly economic costs, lost productivity. When people are obviously incapacitated or killed, that's going to impact the economy. It's also looking at healthcare costs, obviously significant consequences to serious injuries, and then also things as simple as traffic congestion when there's crashes. But then the other $54 billion are quality of life costs. Obviously, when a member of someone's family is killed, those emotional costs are devastating. And the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has created a formula to put a price tag on those quality of life costs. And so it's a reminder that the reality, the state's transportation system can be made safer really at a very cost-effective rate. And when you compare it to the $72 billion cost of those crashes, it's really a tremendous bargain to the state to make those investments in making the system safer.
So let's talk about solutions, the safe system approach, and the focus on some of the tiers between people and cars and speeds. Rocky.
The safe system approach developed by the U.S. Department of Transportation is very helpful for really thinking that through. It starts with the driver, drivers driving at safe speeds, obeying traffic laws, safer vehicles. We are seeing safer vehicles on the road that have more technology that help people avoid collisions, and also improving post-care crash so that we can give people the best possible crash recovery and best chance of surviving a crash. But then very critically focusing on infrastructure. When you improve lighting, when you improve lane markings, when you improve intersection designs by adding turn lanes when it's appropriate, adding rumble strips on rural roads, all of these very cost-effective strategies have a significant impact, and we detail those in the report. There's a good federal report looking at safety countermeasures on roadways. And when state governments and also local governments have the resources to invest in them, the result is a significant improvement in driving safety.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what can individual communities in the Carolinas do right now to make roads safer as we wait for some of these larger infrastructure projects?
Well, certainly what we're seeing with local governments and state governments, certainly they look at the data, and when they see an intersection or a roadway that's having significant fatalities, they evaluate it and look for countermeasures to make it safer. But increasingly, states are also looking at system-wide and trying to ensure that the entire system is as safe as possible. And really that is helping motorists so that they're not confused, that it's very clear, when there's major curves coming, making sure there's guardrails and a variety of these types of improvements. And so state and local governments are trying to look at it as a system, but of course you need the resources to make those improvements. But one of the challenges in the last 3 years is the inflation in highway construction costs is up by 54%. And so the dollars aren't going as far as they have in the past. And that's going to be a challenge, certainly in North Carolina, as the state looks into the future with a growing population, making sure that there are coming up with adequate resources for transportation investment. And also at the federal level, where the Federal Surface Transportation Program expires next fall. And so deliberations have begun at looking at federal investment in North Carolina's transportation system.
If you could leave our viewers with a message or a takeaway this morning, drivers, pedestrians, what is it, Rocky?
It is a realization that when we're behind the wheel, that we have to take far greater precautions. The number of fatalities, nearly 1,700 a year in North Carolina and 40,000 nationally, is really a crisis. And each of us are a part of that. And anyone, including bicyclists and pedestrians, all of us have to be cautious and make sure that we're paying attention and making good decisions, so that we all have a part to play in making sure that we see a significant reduction in this tremendous level of traffic crashes and fatalities across the country.
All right. If people want to see the full report, where shall we go?
They can go to our website, which is tripnet.org, and our safety report is front and center, and we encourage them to have a look at that.
Absolutely. Good information and a great conversation this morning. Rocky Moretti, thank you for joining us here on Live Impact News. Appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Time right now is 9:41 as we are approaching the midway point for our morning stream here on WCNC Plus. We thank you for joining us here on Live Impact News, where we just bring you all of the live conversations as much as possible. That was a great discussion with Rocky Moretti, information we didn't know and things that we could possibly do on the community level. Take you out now to a situation that is ongoing in our community. It is a long playing problem where Animal Control Center, they are running out of room. They have as they try to build at CMPD's new big location, they just can't seem to keep up with the stray population, and we need fosters and staycations and adoptions for these pets, for these dogs and cats. Our Vanessa Rufus, of course, has a passion for everyone stray and the animals and trying to find them homes. She had this interview yesterday, and we'll play this for you now and get you caught up here on WCNC Plus.
Because we talk a lot about how to keep you and your family safe. We want to make sure that we're talking about our furry family members. Because we talk a lot about how to keep you and your family safe, we want to make sure that we're talking about our furry family members as well. So, and by the way, you're seeing here imagery from that recent Texas rescue of animals that were actually impacted by the flooding. And there was a group out of Virginia that went to Texas, as you could see, loading those dogs up into planes and cats. And they basically brought them back to Virginia. So the shelter there in Texas did not have to deal with worries of overcrowding or how are we going to take care of these animals when it's tough enough to maybe even take care of ourselves because we're in the midst of a natural disaster. So we want to bring in Melissa Nicely, who's with Charlotte Mecklenburg Animal Care and Control. Thanks so much for joining us here, Melissa. Good to see you again.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I mean, a really important topic. I feel like, every single year we are so thorough here at WCNC Charlotte about trying to make sure that folks know how to prepare for weather impacts. And we just want to make sure that the pets don't get lost in the mix because you don't want to be stuck last minute facing an emergency and being like, what am I going to do with my dog or my cat? Or in some cases, like my horse,
Exactly. All those are really great reminders that we just never know what the natural disaster could be. It could be localized flooding and flash flooding like we've seen a lot recently. It could be things like tornadoes. We also, look at the impact that we receive with a lot of the hurricanes and that sort of thing. So there's always things that could happen, and some of the things could happen very quickly, and some of them we may have a little bit of time to prepare. So it's always a good thing to think about quickly. Like if you're in a quick situation like we've heard of recently in the news where this flash flooding is giving people just very quickly trapping them and things like that. And so I made a list. I thought about all the things that I've talked about for over the years about pet preparedness. And for me personally, I took myself into consideration and I thought, what would I grab? What would I do? And honestly, and people feel free to judge me as we talk through the evening because I'm that crazy person that thinks about all the things that could go wrong.
No, we love that.
So I always do make sure that I have leashes and collars, different places in my house, because I have a 2-story house. So I make sure I have extra leashes upstairs in case of a house fire and I'd need to get outside or something like that and go out the window perhaps or something like that. So I do keep some upstairs and I keep some downstairs. But that's the one thing that you really want to make sure that you have handy, that you know where they are, is leashes, collars, harnesses for dogs. That way you can just grab them as quickly as you can, and that way you you'll be able to control your animal no matter what the situation is. And then also it's great, you may not use your cat carrier very often, maybe that once a year trip to the vet for the shots, but make sure that you have a cat carrier for each cat. And make those, somewhere that, like on your exit plan out of the house, that you can grab those, whether maybe it's a coat closet. There's often a lot of coat closets that are right inside the entryway. That's a good place to put all your extra stuff. So those are things that I think for me, like if I'm having to leave in a hurry and I need to take my animals, those are the things that I'm going to need the most. If you have a little bit more time, and this is something you can do now, is medical records. They're very key because it shows the vaccinations that they have and also the rabies certificate. So what I like to tell everybody is make a copy of it so you can get them from your vet. If you don't have them with you and you can't find them, they can email them to you. Just call your vet, they can email them to you. Keep a copy in your glove box. That's a great place to keep a copy. Keep a copy of your microchip records as well, because that way you know the number. If you don't have a microchip, then we need to talk about that too, because you need to get a microchip. It is the best thing in emergency situations if your pet is lost from you to be able to get your pet back to you. But the other thing that's important to have is any medications that they might have. So as you're going out the door, think about, like, is your animal on a special medication that it would be a problem if it didn't get it every single day. So those are my tops, those are my top things. What I like to tell everybody too, and you're going to hear me say this a few times, put all of your paper medical records that you have, put them in a Ziploc freezer bag or whatever brand that you would like to
So it
use.
doesn't get wet.
So it doesn't get wet,
Yeah.
because oftentimes you're leaving and it's raining or it's flooding or those sorts of things, and that's going to keep everything nice and dry. I recommend to do that with the medications as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think about too, your recommendation about having the medical records, because, it's great to just have them in general, but I think about situations, for example, when I lived in Florida and we would cover hurricane after hurricane, there was always a question over, is the shelter that you might need to go to take cover, do they accept pets? And if so, does the shelter require a proof of, hey, that your dog has been vaccinated against XYZ to be able to get into the shelter if you needed to?
And sometimes, depending on how they are, and I'm sure it's different in different states as well, because there's always different requirements in different states. But the nice thing about it is that I know we have run shelters before where we take vaccines with us and we can vaccinate animals upon entry. But personally, I wouldn't want my animal, if it's already vaccinated, to get another set of vaccines. So just simply having that medical paperwork with you is going to save your pet from getting extra vaccines that it may not need. The other thing that I would recommend is store, because most of the time the vets will email you a record and it's in a format of a PDF. You can store that on your phone as well. And I think it's a great place to store it, because then you always have it no matter where you are.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that information will have not only your rabies certificate information, but it'll also have your microchip information on it as well with that number.
Yeah, it's really great advice. And I mean, we talk about all the time, prepare, don't wait till the last minute. And in the human context, I mean, we know what that means, but I think about as well, the fact that during, for example, Hurricane Helene, which of course everyone who remembers here in the Carolinas and the impacts of that, one of the stories that we saw, one of the headlines we saw, down the road as pets were kind of turning up, was the fact that there were a lot of pets that were actually lost during Helene because they ran away or whatnot. And our mountain communities, our high country, those shelters there or the rescues, whatever agency they had up there dealing with animals, like they got inundated and they were overwhelmed. And so sometimes I feel like folks think, well, it's not going to happen to me. I don't really need to do this, but we see that it does happen, and when it does happen, it can be really serious, the consequences.
It really can, and the last thing that a lot of the shelters need is all these extra animals, because they've already got animals there, and so that can cause a huge backup for space and that sort of thing. So that is why, we want to be prepared. We want to make sure they're wearing ID tags. We want to make sure that they're microchipped and that sort of thing. So if your pet does go missing, you can easily get reunited with your pet. But it is something to think about, because even those shelters in all of the areas in Western North Carolina, a lot of them were getting flooded and a lot of them were getting displaced and things like that. So at that point in time, they're not even going to be able to help the pet owners because they're trying to help, themselves and save the animals that were in their shelters.
Yeah.
So anything that you can do ahead of time, I like to say have a grab and go bag, with a lot of supplies in there. And I love that you can use the Google and easily just put what should I put in my pet supply bag and that sort of thing, and it's going to give you a nice list of things. But it's the same things we talked about, like put it in your coat closet. Just a little duffel bag or a backpack or something like that. And you'd be surprised at what you can fit in there. We always tell everybody that if you really want to get really prepared, especially during like hurricane season or whatever it might be that, may be affecting your area, is you want to have no less than 7 days supply of pet food. And water and things like that. And this is nice because this can also remind you things that you need to have, as well as, like you're going to need some water on hand and that sort of thing. But extra leashes, extra collars, again, the copies of the medical reports. I like to put in there a flea and tick and heartworm pill, at least so you have one, because you never know how long you're going to get displaced, and that's usually a once a month thing. Get your dry food, canned food. I recommend sticking a can opener in there because some pet foods you can open, but some you need, some you need a can opener. So we talk about that. Kongs, toys, blankets, towels, especially if they have a blanket that has their scent on it, because it's going to make them more comfortable. Paper towels, cleaning disinfectants, food and water bowls, and a litter pan. I put this in here because I think this is brilliant. They have disposable litter pans now, and the brand is called Cat's Pride, and it's called Cat Kit. And it literally is like a litter pan that has the litter already inside, and then you just open it up. And to me, that's a brilliant thing, because you put that in your coat closet, with your bag and everything, and you just can grab that as well.
And it's kind of like easy in the sense of you're probably at that point dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, just, literally in front of your eyes, that maybe that's just going to be the easiest solution for you.
Right.
Just open that and be done with it.
Right.
So I did want to mention this as well, because we had alluded to the fact that sometimes there are like special situations with other animals, like horses or birds and such. We have an article on our website that, we can have folks check out if you want more information on that front. I know, because we were kind of dog and cat specific, but we know a lot of folks have dogs and cats. WCNC.com, and then when you go to our website, you can just search for pet hurricane preparedness, and you'll see one of our articles from, pre-hurricane season, where our team kind of put together kind of what you said, plus there's special considerations for maybe larger animals or birds. I wanted to make sure that we talked about, the fact that down the road, just in a couple days, we have, it's like Dog Selfie Day, which I know it sounds silly because, we all take selfies with our dogs, from time to time,
Hundreds.
if you're a dog owner or your cat. But there's actually a real reason, a serious reason for this, and it kind of interlocks with what we've just been talking about.
It does, yes. This Saturday, the July the 26th, is National Dog Photography Day. So if you don't have anything that you're working on and stuff, make sure that you do this on Saturday. Is you want to take a picture and you want to do a selfie with your animal. And this isn't just for pet preparedness. This can be actually proof if your dog was stolen or something. It's going to show that you are the owner, because you literally have the pet with you in the picture. So Saturday, take a bunch of selfies. Make sure that you have those on your phone stored somewhere. Send them to maybe some friends and that sort of thing, so there's extra copies in case you lose your phone or something. And that is going to be really come in handy if there was ever a case of like identification, and they're going to say, well, can you prove that this is your dog, or prove that this is your cat or your lizard or your snake or whatever it might be. The other thing that is crucial is taking a picture of your pet from different angles, like maybe a picture of the face, a picture of the side of your pet, and then anything that's going to show specific markings. Because if for some reason in an emergency situation you lose your pet, or just in everyday life you lose your pet, you're going to want to use those pictures to make flyers. And you're going to want to make sure that you have most updated ones. And that's why I love this day on Saturday, because if you're someone unlike me or unlike Vanessa, who doesn't take pictures every day with their pets,
So many pictures. But anyways.
and you haven't updated a picture in 3 years of your cat Joe, you know, then take a picture of Joe this weekend, because animals do change as they get older. Their features change, their colors change, their faces gray sometimes. And so it's really great to have a recent picture of your pet, so that if you ever are in a situation where you need to make a flyer because they're missing, I hope not, but if you do, you'll have some more recent pictures for people to help you identify your pet.
Yeah, great advice. Speaking of Joe the cat, we hear you have lots of Joe the cats.
We do.
At the shelter
We
right
have-
now. Actually, you just put out an alert a couple moments ago.
We did. Yeah, it's been coming. We've been getting fuller and fuller with kittens and cats, and this afternoon was kind of the breaking point. One of our folks from the sheltering division came in my office and said, "Hey, can your team start putting out some alerts? We are full with cats and kittens." And so, of course, I had the miserable, horrible job of having to go get video and pictures of
cute.
all these amazing kittens. It's a terrible job to have. And I'm just telling you right now, if you are ready to adopt a cat or a kitten, we have so many. And the kittens, oh my. Just
Oh my,
so,
I can see,
so
yes, some of this video.
cute.
We're showing it right now.
Oh my goodness, they're so cute. All colors, all sizes, all personalities.
Hugging.
Yeah.
Cuddling.
Yeah, so cute. So right now, if you're looking to adopt, there's no better time. I love to say that you want to adopt 2 kittens, because it is so great to have cats that grow up together, and they're going to play with each other and not wake you up in the middle of the night.
Daylight saving time.
We do, exactly.
They have no idea.
Right now, just to look at the numbers, we have 193 kittens at the shelter.
My.
We have 75 cats, and we have another whopping 359 cats/kittens, which is probably mostly kittens, in foster care.
Oh my.
So that's a lot of cats and kittens.
Yeah. You mentioned foster care. I mean, I have experience with fostering dogs. I'm kind of just curious, how different is it to foster a cat versus fostering a dog?
Sure. So you're very familiar with our foster program. I always like to let everybody know that we provide everything for you. So we'll provide a litter box, we'll provide supplies, litter, food, toys, whatever it takes. And we really have a lot of different fostering needs with kittens, because we have a mom with kittens. So if you want to foster the mom and kittens, the mom does a lot of the work for you.
Oh, yeah.
We also, and I saw a really sweet mom that had 3 babies. And then we also have orphan kittens that doesn't have a mom, and it's going to require you to bottle feed. It's a little bit more of a commitment, because you have to feed every 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
But if you love the thought of bottle feeding little baby kittens and taking care of them and kind of being the mom, there's really nothing better to do. And again, we'll train you for that if you've never done it before. And we have all the supplies for that. And then if you're just I'd really don't have that time commitment, but I do have some, then we have the older kittens that basically are weaned off of the milk and they're eating food. They just need to gain weight and be socialized. And that's that little sort of 4 to 8 week old kittens where they're starting to play. And a lot of the video that I took in the pictures is probably that age. Most of them were eating food, and they just have to reach a certain weight so that we can spay and neuter them. And it's a really fun assignment. And it actually would be great if you have your kids at home right now off school, because it would be a great experience for the kids too.
Yeah. A little life lesson, just how to take care of a pet, and it's super cute. Oh my goodness. I love this video. We're still, I'm looking at some of it rolling. There you go. I was kind of
Just going to roll this for the rest of the show.
There we go. That's the rest of the show, folks. just so adorable. And we know that this is the time of year. I mean, y'all get not just cats, dogs. I mean, you're inundated. The summertime, this is the time. I know we got clear shelters coming up too.
We do. We're so
just
excited.
a matter of like
it
days.
It couldn't be a better time. You got like NBC does such a great job with the event, completely, and we love working with you guys here at CNC. And the other thing is about it is they plan it at the perfect time that shelters really need it. Shelters are really full in July and August. So our big event is going to be on the 23rd. So we'll be doing special stuff all month, but our big adoption day is going to be on July 23rd.
Yeah.
I mean August 23rd. Sorry.
August, yeah. I just what is a month? It just goes by fast.
It does.
I can't believe it. We're almost to August, and I know y'all are so full. So.
And you've been watching a previously recorded interview with our Vanessa Rufus and Melissa from CMPD Animal Care and Control. So many needs there. Help them out. We all have the information on our website or on the WCNC app. Just after 10 a.m. on this Thursday morning. Hope you're having a good morning, almost to the weekend. I want to take a look at your weather right now because whether or not, it's another hot day. Meteorologist Chris Mulcahy in the Live Impact studio now. And at least we are not weather impact alert. We're taking a little break.
Today's actually the coolest day with a high of 94 over the next 7. So,
Wow.
but let's live in the past a little bit. How great was yesterday, right?
Fabulous.
Great.
You talk about a verified pick of the week.
That was
Yeah,
Boom.
you were on it.
Yeah, well, because that's the thing. When I'm I'm a hype guy in general, but when I'm over hyped,
Yeah.
that's when you have to get on board. That's your sign, and that was yesterday because yesterday actually felt great. Yes, it was the normal hot of the lower 90s, but you didn't have that mugginess. That mugginess is already back this morning. You can feel it in the afternoon.
It's a sticky.
Yeah, it's sticky, but we got some more sunshine. That's
Yeah.
good. Here's Lylesville. All right, so we're gonna go through a bunch of stats and figures because we're about to get hot, but it's not just hot. We're talking about historically hot. This is some of the hottest stretches that we have had in history if this forecast verifies. And we're also going to be challenging at the number 2 spot for the hottest July. And in general, this is going to be the hottest weekend. So we have a bunch of superlatives going on here. Here's embracing the superlatives of the comparative. And we are just dealing with a batch of clouds in general for our Dallas sky cam. But we're going to see a mix of cloud and sunshine. We're already up to 81 degrees. That's why we're easily getting into the middle 90s for today. There'll be a chance for an isolated storm, but 94 today with the real feel up to about 98. But that's actually going to be the bottom going forward. So today is hot, even ghost pepper hot, because ghost peppers are in town. Yep, love the ghost peppers. I usually give their forecast on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I did it yesterday for the Jumbotron because they are only on a 3-game stretch. So after today, can't go, so go check out that game, even with their questionable mascot, sorry. And 97 is going to be the real feel by about 6 p.m. when that game is starting. And then after that, it will still feel like the lower 90s. So that heat index is back in action. And then tonight, 75 with a heat index into tomorrow morning. So this brings up my next point. Look at our lows. Our lows are going to only drop down to the upper 70s to around 80 degrees through this weekend heading into Monday. That's a big starting point. We should be averaging about 90 and 70 for our highs and lows. That's not the case. Well, I want to start here. Not only are we going to have near record highs, but we're potentially having record warm lows. So the record warm low, so the warmest low, for what's this Saturday? July 26th.
Yeah.
76 degrees. I have a forecast high of 77. 76 versus 79. 78 versus 80. 77 versus 78. So you're talking about 4 straight mornings that are starting off the warmest that they've ever been. That's just a higher benchmark. And yesterday here on our stream, we were talking about the 100-degree machine. Once it starts up, it's very tough to stop it. That's why we've had multiple streaks that have extended, and that's where we moved up. I also was mentioning yesterday that, hey, I have 99, 98, but we could be 100 to 101. We're doing it. That's going to be the potential. Now, cloud cover, if we get a developing thunderstorm, that could kick things down. But still having a chance to get to 100 degrees is significant and historic. The longest streaks In the history of Charlotte, which dates back to 1879, so 146 years of record keeping, including this year, 5 days in a row back in July 1986. So if that forecast that I just showed you, I'll backtrack, verifies, this isn't just a stretch of 90-degree days or 100-degree days. This is a historic stretch that would be matching the longest that we've ever had in Charlotte history. And Ben actually asked a really interesting question, Jane and Carlene. He said, what's rare, a 100-degree day or it actually getting snow here in Charlotte? Well, believe it or not, over the last 25 years, it's actually snowed a measurable snowfall 59 times, but we've only hit 100 degrees 25 times. So so you're actually more likely to get a measurable snowfall on a day than a 100-degree day, which is kind of mind-blowing to a certain point. I'm actually going to pivot showing you this graphic. So this is the last 10 years, not including this year. We hit 100-degree day in 2024. 2022, we hit one 100-degree day, but we went 6 years without hitting 100 here in Charlotte.
Oh, wow.
Meanwhile, back in 2015, we hit it 5 times. So if we hit it even just 2 times in a row, this is the longest streak of 100 degrees that we've had in over a decade. So I just want everyone to put it in perspective. Yes, we've said before, it's hot. It's been one of the hottest Julys. No, this stretch of 100 doesn't happen that often. So I just want everyone to realize that this is a near record streak, but then one of the longest that we've ever seen. Meanwhile, I've shown you this before. We're averaging 84 degrees so far through this point in July. But I crunched the numbers. I took all of the lows and the highs that I just showed you on the extended forecast through July, and it looks like we could pass 1986 that had the 5 days in a row of 100 degrees if this verifies. I even kind of did plus or minus a couple of degrees. So yeah, this looks like it could end as the second hottest July in the history of Charlotte. So also bigging up more superlatives. This is the hottest weekend that we've had so far this year. And I also looked, the last time we had a weekend in Charlotte Douglas International Airport, where both days were 100, 2012.
Oh.
So I want everyone to realize this. Look what I mentioned. What were you doing in 2012? I have no idea. What were you doing in 2015? Maybe don't answer it depending on what stage of life you were.
In 2012.
Oh, well, congratulations. Okay, maybe look back. That's fantastic.
I don't know where I was.
Yeah, me neither. I have no idea. I don't know where I was yesterday. 96, 98 was our previous hot weekend, which, what do you know, was last weekend, where we had multiple heat advisories, and that's going to happen again. We've already had 6 heat advisories in Mecklenburg County and surrounding counties this year. Last year, we had 8. The most we've seen over the last 10 years is 10. Well, we're going to have a heat advisory Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and some of those could even be an extreme heat warning. So we're also looking at the most amount of advisories that we've seen over the last 10 years coming from Greenville, Spartanburg. It's feeling like 106 to 108. The hottest we felt so far this year is 110. Well, we could challenge that. And as far as the heat alerts go, whenever you feel like it's going to be 105 to 109, you're going to have a heat advisory. Whenever there's a threat for 110, which is going to be a possibility, it just depends on the moisture content, there'll be an extreme heat warning. We've only had 3 of those over the last 15 years. So, again, this is the upper bounds, near record keeping, especially doing it so many days in a row. As far as our rain chances go, they're not too much. Isolated to near dry conditions. Sometimes when you're this hot, kind of messes up with thunderstorm development, but you're still seeing some spots of green develop here and there. I think there's a better chance in South Carolina, especially later on this evening as the front gets a little bit close to us. Tomorrow and Saturday have a better chance for pop-up showers and thunderstorms. These will be slow movers. So some of us will have up to a half inch, 3/4 of an inch of rain quickly falling, while others see nothing at all. You're seeing them jog into the evening, and then I'm going to run tape for Saturday. Same thing goes. Pop-up showers and thunderstorms starting around that noon to 2 o'clock zone, and they could drift into the evening. But nothing really super widespread that rain's really an issue. Look at these rain totals. Barely anything. Just letting you know there is a chance that you could have a brief heavy downpour. And it's really not until we get to about the Wednesday to next Thursday that ends the month of July that we have a front that drifts in that increases our rain chances, and eventually once it passes, we're eventually going to be out of this stretch. For this 7-day forecast, it looks aggressive, but 100 degrees
aggressive.
for
Yeah.
5 days in a row. We're weather alert. I could have just kept the blue bars, but not to discount the previous ones we had, but these are worse than the previous ones. We're closer to an extreme heat warning than a heat advisory, so enjoy your coolest 94 over the next 7 days because we're really about to turn up the heat more so than we're used to.
Turn up.
Superlative city.
Turn it up. Yes, superlative city. Let's bring it.
Do
Yes.
you have a superlative? Did you ever get one?
Yes.
What was your superlative?
Most outgoing.
Really?
Mhm.
That
Yes.
makes sense, Jane.
Shocker. I got 2.
Ooh.
Wow.
I know. I got best dressed.
Nice.
And,
That's true.
And most likely to succeed.
Oh, well, there you go.
You sound
fun.
surprised.
No, that's great.
Those are-
You
yeah,
doubled
two.
up. I got
I was-
most talented.
Nice.
See?
Yeah.
No
so.
surprises in this room.
Okay, well, I'm glad we all got superlatives because I didn't want to be one person to be left out that didn't get a superlative.
Right,
I
right.
was
Well,
gonna
you
s-
brought it up.
I was
so
going to say,
you
I'll
had
have to make a
have.
WCNC
We
yearbook.
should do. Oh my gosh.
Oh
we
my
should do
gosh, that'd be
superlatives here.
hilarious.
We should do that.
Oh, I like
Sharif,
that.
if you're listening, we want to do superlatives.
Superlatives. No, because the ones who are left out are gonna be like,
Oh, true.
you know.
Well, everyone will get one. Hey, Sharif.
There we go.
Bring donuts. Bring bagels. Are you listening?
Bagels.
Sharif bagels.
Bagels. We're savory people.
Bring the
Yeah,
bagels.
that's like the old school social media kind of thing.
It was.
But being voted for
Yeah.
on or not getting a vote.
Yeah.
We're all
know.
everybody.
We're winners in here.
Everybody's a winner.
Do kids still sign yearbooks? Does that still
I
happen?
don't know. Do you?
I don't know. I had
was
signed
the
your
best.
book. You have signed your book. Now we got that. We got to ask a kid. We got to ask a kid. Do you have
Yeah.
a yearbook? Do you sign
Let
it?
us
I wanna
know,
know.
here on the stream.
Let us know. Come in here. Tell us.
All right.
Hopefully you got a lot of signatures this year.
Yep.
All right, Chris Mulcahy, thanks again for
course.
the most outgoing.
That's right.
Thank you.
Makes
Thank
sense.
you.
Yes, thanks for the turn up heat that we're going to have here in the next few days. All right, enjoy today. Right now, 10:11 is the time here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Let's see, who is live right now? We do have the Senate in session.
Yeah.
Should-
Not much audio going on.
Not much audio. All right, let's just go take a peek here and see what's happening in D.C. on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. All right, she was right. Nothing going on right now at the Senate session. At least no one is up at the podium right now. We are waiting for a Senate Judiciary meeting that is scheduled to come up here at 10:15. We'll check in to see if that happens here in the next few minutes. In the meantime, if you were with us last hour, there was we were playing for you the press conference for Media Day for Panthers training camp day 1. We heard from Coach Dave Canales as well as Bryce Young, and we took a break there in the middle, so let's go ahead and continue the presser. If you have missed it, our Nick Carboni is coming up here in about 20 minutes to speak for day 2 of training camp, but yesterday's press conference recorded in its entirety on WCNC Plus.
How's it going? Good.
I'm sure you were aware at some level, but of Josie's situation and kind of how that all played out.
Yeah, I think obviously a lot of that is probably behind the scenes that we don't know. But I was kind of more just on the side of worrying about him as a human, you know, and him going forward. So I think that was kind of the first thing on my mind. That's just something that it's a little bit bigger than football. So as far as how that goes with the contracts and all that, it's just it's a lot bigger than that for sure.
Maybe not how you wanted to get here, but really elevates your spot on this defense. Could you address that?
Yeah, it's like you said, it's definitely not the way. That's just how football is, though, you know. And like I said earlier, you care about him as a human first and foremost, and it was great to get to know him and hopefully continue that relationship and maybe play again together someday once he heals up. So, but I've been in this role before, so it's not something that's new to me. So I'm excited to kind of take that opportunity and run with it. So.
What have been your first impressions just coming into this organization? You have familiarity with everyone, but just in terms of what Dave Canales and Dan Morgan are trying to do too.
Yeah, I think the first thing I noticed was the culture that we're trying to build, and how they really try to get guys in here this offseason, and then the rookie draft class that really fit that culture, and kind of build on what last season ended with, and moving on from there for sure.
You and Trevor were kind of patched at the hip today. I know it's only been one day, but how much are y'all leaning on each other now that Josie's not here?
Yeah, I love Trev, and I'm excited to play with him, obviously. And we have a great room. I'm excited to have all those guys for training camp and kind of see how the season shakes out that way. And that's kind of like I said, with football, there's guys that'll be in the room and out, but I'm just excited to play with all those guys in there this training camp.
That was his number last year. Was there a conversation about that, or did he move on?
Yeah, no, he wanted to move, I think 32. Well, I know 32 is his college number. 56 isn't necessarily something I'm super attached to, but it was available, so I just went with it. So.
What would you want?
56 is great. I'm not probably too much of the flashy type to get a single digit as a linebacker, but 56 is a good linebacker number for sure. I'll take it.
You had a big year last year. What was the key to that, and how would you describe your game or what you bring to this defense?
Yeah, I think last year, just making the most of my opportunities and staying healthy the whole season. Football's a very physical game, so to be able to play a full season and play 2 playoff games and come out healthy was huge for me, and that's been, knock on wood, that's been consistent throughout my career. So I think I'm just excited to see what my role will be and where I can fit as a leadership role, being the green dot right now, and hopefully making the most of that opportunity, just like I've kind of done in the past. I haven't been necessarily given any opportunities, just kind of had to kind of take these and run with it.
Christian, you mentioned being in this situation before. What's the process like when you find out in a hurry you're going to be in that role, and how do you adjust to that on the fly?
Yeah, I think what's been nice is early in my career I was a backup, and it's really hard to be a backup and prepare every game like you're going to play and then not seeing the field. So to prepare like a backup but prepare that you're going to play, I think during OTAs was just something that I've done kind of my whole career. So it's still football. This is a scheme that I've played in for, this will be my 6th season in, so I feel comfortable in it. So I'm excited to, like I said, see where my role is that way.
Christian, back on the Josie thing, did he talk to you individually? Did he address the team at all yesterday, or how did you find out?
Yeah, he told me in the morning. I know his big thing is he didn't want it to be a distraction, which whatever he would have done, I think it's a big deal to not have him in the locker room. So it's not like it was a distraction, kind of maybe a disappointment that he's not going to be around for a little bit. But I think he handled it about as best as anybody could. I don't obviously know the ins and outs of kind of what happened, but nothing but respect for him, and I think that kind of goes for the whole team and the organization. So,
what's been your impression of the young edge rushers you guys have brought in?
I'm excited to. It's been fun seeing him in OTAs. I'm excited to see him with pads on, kind of in that live setting, just because they're very explosive, and I think they're going to make a lot of plays for us.
You're coming from a franchise that's pretty much a perennial playoff team. What's the vibe? I know you've only been here since March, April. What's the vibe, though, around this franchise?
I can tell that we're really hungry for success, and I think we're willing to sacrifice a lot to get that success. And I think it starts, you're not going to win against Jacksonville today, but I think the mindset's been, you got to take it one step at a time, and got to string together a few good days, and before you know it, the season will be here, and we got to be ready to roll.
Good number of former Rams are here on staff and on the roster. How has that translated at all in terms of that atmosphere and attitude you're referring to?
Yeah, obviously the familiarity has been awesome for me and for those guys, but I think to have guys that, everybody here is the best in the business. Every single team around the league, they're the best in the business. So it's really about coming together as a team. So no matter where you come from, it doesn't really matter. It's what we can do this year and how we can come together as a team.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, bro.
JC, I saw you and Mike Jack over by the quarterbacks pretty early. Bryce kind of indicated like maybe a little early trash talk. Is that kind of what that was about to start practice?
Yeah, trying to get in their head a little bit. We was catching the ball where they was warming up, so they can get used to throwing it to us. So yeah, it was it was a fun little warm up.
Bryce asked us about our off season, but you became a father during the off season.
Yeah,
Tell us about that. You had your first Father's Day.
Yeah, it was the best thing in the world. I tell people, like growing up, I always thought being drafted or going to the NFL or NBA would be like the best feeling. But I first held my baby. That was the best feeling in the world. And it's just fun to go home every day to her and see a smiling face, and just make life a lot better.
Has fatherhood changed you in any way?
Not really. Give me a little different perspective on life, of knowing things. That's what's really important. And just trying to, lead in the right footsteps for her and give her a good example.
You sleeping well? Get a lot of sleep with her?
Yeah. My girl, she'll take her to the guest room, so she ain't waking me up all through the night. She know I got to get up early, so yeah, I've been getting some good sleep.
I saw Corey Thornton rotate in there with Mike Jack a couple times when you were out. What have you seen from him? I know it's only day one training camp, but going back to the offseason, the OTAs and all that.
Really just consistency. Corey came in at OTAs and did a good job the whole camp. He came back, and that's what he earned, just the right to get in there and mix it in with the ones. I think he did a good job today too. We're gonna go back and watch the film, but Corey just been real consistent in his technique and his preparation, and I think he's gonna be a good player for us.
Dave Canales said earlier that y'all would be a team that nobody wanted to play soon. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm right on board with him. That's just a mentality, how this team is going to be branded. A physical football team where win, lose, or draw, like when you go in there and see the Panthers, it's going to be a physical football game and you're going to be hurting afterwards. And that's just the attitude we got to have, and that's got to be our brand of football when we travel and play.
JC, heard you telling T-Mac you were waiting on the catch. Was that trash talk, instruction, Elizabeth Bowe?
Making me look bad. Nah, just a little fun trash talk.
How motivated are you guys as a defense just to flip the narrative, erase the stats you see out there about defense as one of the worst in the league last year?
Yeah, super motivated. Anytime you attach to that defense, I tell the guys all the time, you got to take that personal. Like, even when we out here having fun, talking trash, like, last year was last year, but, we still on the wrong side of history, and we got to have that in the back of our mind every day and prep the right way so we can come back this year and put good stuff on tape.
You got like Damani make that kind of play, showing off the range there. Dave talked about, how good he is as a communicator. What's impressed you the most about his growth heading into year two?
Just what you said, the communication. Playing above the X's and O's, because it's hard for a lot of young guys to do that. They just try to do exactly what the coach says so they don't get in trouble. But Damani, he came out of the SEC, so, I expected him to, be a high-level player, and he turned it into just that, communicating at a high level, making plays, and I think he's just going to get better and better.
How big a blow was that yesterday to learn about Josie?
Yeah, man, first it just hurt as a person, just seeing him go through that. I didn't really even think about the football side of it immediately. Later on in the day I did, because he's a hell of a player, but just as a person, he a great guy, and you want him to be okay. So, we just sending prayers up for him, and he's going to come back strong.
Christian just told us he was wearing the green dot today. Early impressions of him?
He went smooth today. I don't watch the linebackers too much, but we're not in pads yet, so you can't really feel them. But the communication and stuff in the huddle was A1, and I feel like everybody got the call around the defense, and we played fast.
JC, are you coming into this camp with the most consistency you've had since being in the NFL?
Say it one more time.
Is this the most consistency you've had across a team coming into a camp?
Yeah, for sure. For myself, just coming off a year where I finished pretty much healthy, getting a full off season to train and rehab, and then with the same coaching staff being back on the defensive side of the ball and getting Coach Canales back, it's a lot of consistency, and I feel like we got a program now, and we understand what we're here to do.
You talked about you were able to stay healthy last year, and you had kind of changed things last offseason to kind of be able to get to that spot. Do you make any tweaks as far as just your recovery this offseason to make sure you can maintain your ability?
Yeah, I mean, I went back to the same training facility and tried to do the same exact thing. You know, we did some of the same workouts. Just tried to stay with the same program because it worked for me.
Do you enjoy days like today, or are you itching to get the pads back on?
I'm a corner, so even with the pads on, it don't change much for me. Like we can't tackle or anything, even when we have pads on. So we got to cover anyway. But yeah, I'm excited to get it on it'll make the energy of practice go up a little bit more.
What are you seeing different about Xavier?
One more time.
What are you seeing different about Xavier?
I'm just more confident. You know, always going into year 2, you got a little more confidence. You understand what your coach is looking for. You understand how the NFL game is played because it's so different from college. So just seeing him practice fast is the main thing I see from him, and I'm excited to see him year 2.
You said we've got a program now. Just from your point of view, is there a difference between having a team and having an established program?
Yeah. I mean, now guys know what coach is expecting. You're not learning a whole new, it's the same language in the meetings, same practice schedule, same camp schedule. Like you're kind of used to it. So now you can just focus on the football part and getting better each and every day.
Was this a franchise that kind of needed some stability, like to have an off season where there's no GM change, no coaching change, no quarterback change?
Yeah, I mean it's good in anything you do when you got stability and you got the program that you working and running. So yeah, we definitely needed that.
Tell us about your new car back at minicamp. Tell us about that.
I told you got to come see it, bro. You got to come see it. You got to come to the parking lot.
Where are we gonna meet you?
Parking lot. Come back there. Y'all see it. It's the coldest one in the parking lot. Y'all know which one it is. Good. Appreciate y'all.
And we have day 2 coming up here for Panthers training camp. We will check in with our Nick Carboni in just a few minutes. Want to get you live now to the Senate session. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer speaking right now, asking for transparency to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. Let's listen in here on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Make it all disappear. Because whenever Donald Trump points a finger, it's because he knows he's guilty of what he's accusing everyone else of. That's his MO. When he does something, when he knows he's done something wrong, instead of admitting it, instead of trying to make amends, he points the finger at someone else and accuses them of the very thing he has done. That's how he's lived his whole life. That's how he's conducted this presidency. As I said, it's his MO. Let us not forget, Donald Trump campaigned just several months back on releasing the Epstein files. Donald Trump was the only president or politician to ever campaign on releasing the Epstein files. And now, very simply, Americans are demanding he honor it. A good number of people voted for Trump because he promised to be their voice against the so-called deep state. But now they have seen he is very much part of that deep state. He's right in the middle of it. People believed he would drain the swamp. Now he's right in the middle of the swamp. And that's why Americans across the political spectrum, right, center, left, Democrats, Republicans, independents, Americans across the political spectrum are angry with Donald Trump because they now are seeing his promise to drain the swamp was total fiction. He's in the middle of it. He's adding to it. Trump promised transparency. He told his supporters he'd expose the truth. He's done the opposite. He's smothered it more than ever before. And meanwhile, House Republicans had the chance to show courage, to do the right thing and act. But instead, Speaker Johnson ran for the exits, sending everyone home early and triggering what we now call the Epstein recess. But I'd say to Speaker Johnson, I'd say to Donald Trump and his minions, I'd say to all of my Republican colleagues in the Senate, this issue isn't going away. It's only getting bigger and more dangerous the longer Republicans ignore it. Instead of focusing on appropriations or national priorities like transparency for Americans or funding the government, Speaker Johnson and House Republicans will be left cleaning up this mess, a mess of their own making. Republicans cannot escape the issue, not next week, not next month, not until the American people get answers and the transparency they were promised. Now on the Beau v. Cloture vote. Later today, Senate Republicans will hold the first procedural vote on one of Donald Trump's nastiest judicial nominees to date, Emil Bovee. Mr. Bovee is beyond unqualified and unworthy of the federal bench. He's an existential threat to the rule of law and our democracy as we know it. Mr. Bovee is far from the mainstream as any judicial nominee we've considered in this chamber. He's a Trumpian henchman, the extreme of the extreme of the extreme. He's openly hostile to the rule of law. He's fundamentally opposed to democratic norms. He lacks the temperament to serve as a jurist. And above all, Bovee is religiously obedient to Donald Trump. We all know that one of the only things that matters to this president is brazen, unyielding obedience to him, no matter how wrong he is, no matter what lies he tells. Mr. Bovee made a name for himself by cleaning up Donald Trump's dirty laundry. That's what he did. He cleaned up Donald Trump's dirty laundry. He's a devout January 6th apologist who defended Trump as his personal attorney after Trump was charged with inciting the insurrection. At the Justice Department, he wielded his power to fire prosecutors working on January 6 criminal cases and punish FBI agents
All right, it looks like that live feed there from the Senate floor is frozen, but happening right now at 10:31 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. The Senate Judiciary nominations hearing is taking place right now. We see Chairman Grassley speaking as this committee is having to re-vote on 7 of President Trump's judicial nominees, including Jeanine Pirro's nomination to be U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Let's go ahead and listen in here on Live Impact News. What do you know? That is frozen as well. All right,
when so many
let's
of them
get you back out to looks like Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is back at it here on WCNC.
Thread of truth to these allegations. That alone is enough to disqualify Mr. Bovee from ever holding federal office and federal judgeship above all. But my Republican colleagues don't seem to want to get to the facts. Republicans are so afraid of Donald Trump, so willing to do whatever he says, that many of them are going along with Bovee's nomination without a whisper, without so much as a whisper of scrutiny. Also, all the signs are pointing towards Bovee being a disastrous judge who will take advantage of his power on the Third Circuit to settle scores and advance the Trump agenda. So Republicans have a decision to make. If they still have any respect left for the Senate as a check on the executive, if they still have any respect for our judiciary and the rule of law, then Republicans should join Democrats, vote no on Mr. Bovee's nomination. And finally, on a more solemn note, today marks 27 years since Detective John Gibson and Officer Jacob Chestnut of the Capitol Police were killed in the line of duty defending the Capitol building from a lone gunman. In the face of grave danger, not only to themselves, but to all of us who were in the Capitol that day, I was a congressman then, Detective Gibson and Officer Chestnut responded with extraordinary courage and heroism. Because of their sacrifice, a potentially catastrophic situation was contained in a matter of minutes, and countless innocent lives were spared. So today we honor the memories of Detective Gibson and Officer Chestnut, and we thank all of our Capitol Police for doing the work they do day in and day out to keep the Capitol complex safe and secure. I yield the floor. And note the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks.
You've been watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Jane has stepped away from the mic for a moment, but we are going to stay in D.C. and switch over to a Senate Judiciary nominations hearing for the president's nomination for the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. Let's take a listen.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to address your comments in a moment, but I ask the leave of the committee for a point of personal privilege. I want to acknowledge a member of my staff who's leaving. Yashi Gunawardena has served on my staff for over 4 years, personal office and committee, worn many hats, including serving as a professional staff member and nominations clerk. She's excelled in every role. Early on in her time with us, Yashi worked on Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation hearing. If you're a federal judge who's come before us in the past year, it's safe to say that Yashi played a key role in your confirmation. She also works on protecting reproductive rights, an issue she's passionate about. Although she's leaving D.C., she isn't going too far. Next month, she'll begin law school at the University of Virginia. Please join me in thanking Yashi for her service to the committee. Thanks, Mr. Chairman, for your statement at the outset of this hearing as well about last week's markup. We were surprised by the amount of time we were given to discuss the 10 nominees. I remember expressly what you did say, that you wanted to call the roll at 10:30. You made that point early on. I didn't know if that was a hard and fast rule, but you did say it. I will acknowledge that point. I want to address the claim that this was based on precedent. The precedent for cutting off debate and overriding committee rules by majority was established by 3 Republican chairmen, Chairman Hatch, who in 2003 cut off debate on 2 judicial nominees, yourself in 2018 cutting off the debate on Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court, Chairman Graham, who in 2019 cut off debate on a partisan immigration bill, and 2020 cut off debate on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination to the Supreme Court. I believe what happened last week was different from what I did in 2023 when I cut off debate on 2 district court nominees. In that case, the nominees were on the markup for the 4th time. They had already had nearly 2 hours of debate on the nominees, and every member of the committee had already had an opportunity to speak. In fact, we'd already voted on the nominees, and the only reason we came back was one of our members from Minnesota stepped off the floor at an inopportune moment and then came back on the floor and tried to register her vote in person, and we weren't certain that that would stand up to the test of whether it was a valid roll call, and we started over for another go-around. During my 4 years as chair of this committee, I provided members on both sides of the aisle with ample time to debate before calling votes. The bottom line is this. The Senate parliamentarian has been clear that a chairman can override committee rules by a vote of the majority of the committee. Both Republican and Democratic chairs have done that in the past. I think each of us would say that we did not relish it, but this committee has a long tradition of robust debate, and I especially appreciate your comments about trying to recognize that precedent in your own administration as chairman. I understand our staffs have sat down in a peaceful way and talked this over, and I'm looking forward to respecting the fact that we all have busy schedules that have ample time to debate these lifetime appointments, because that's an important part of our responsibility. I thank you. I'm going to withhold my statement beyond that point, and so that we can move on.
Now, if I could explain proceeding today, by agreement with the minority, we'll first voice vote all U.S. attorneys except for Pirro, and we'll do that en bloc. After a voice vote, I'll open the floor for debate on the nomination of Dean Pirro.
Mr. Chairman?
Before her roll call vote. After the Pirro vote, we'll proceed to the bills. So we'll now voice.
Mr. Chairman? May I say something about the comments of the ranker and the chair on that matter of last week?
I hope you can do it quickly. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, both you and the ranking member said that the cutting off of debate had been done a handful of times. It was not relished by either the majority, when it was a Republican majority or Democratic majority. But the sentence that was said by both you and the ranking member was that you can end debate with a majority vote. I think what I said to you in a private conversation that I appreciate, and what I want to just say here is that's not how it was done last week. We didn't have a vote. And that's what I was asking for time and time again during that episode. So clearly, I know the rules. Clearly, I've checked with the parliamentarian. We can override the rules of the committee, but there should be a vote. You began to call a vote, but then you were cut off by staff, and then we pushed the vote through. And the reason why it upsets me so much is because the debate was on a judge for my state on the Third Circuit. We've created a climate in this country that is deepening and deepening a reflexive tribalism where people aren't interested in listening to the facts anymore, listening to each other. Tribalism kills curiosity. It kills the will to listen with an open heart or open mind to your opposition, even if you disagree with them or think you'll disagree with them. That's something that this committee, I think, needs to foster. I'm very troubled this last month because I've seen people who want to come forward with things on this nominee, but they are so terrified of being doxxed or targeted or threatened or worse. The rising tide of hate, both of us on both of our parties have seen this. Judges in my district that are taking extra steps to protect themselves. The climate is getting so bad. I want to say to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle that this culture of fear.
All right, time right now is 10:41. We want to check in with our sports director, Nick Carboni, because he is on the phone with us from training camp day 2. Hey, how's it going, Nick?
I'm great, Jane. How are you?
Oh, we're doing great here. And, your favorite Monday morning quarterback, Sturdivant, is also here.
I'm here, Carboni.
There he
as
is.
well.
There he is. He wouldn't miss one of these for the world.
No, not at all. We got double Nicks here in the room. Okay, so day 1 is done. Any surprises?
Trying to think of one. Damani Richardson, the undrafted free agent safety that started 5 games last year. He's really trying to work his way into a starting role with this team. They signed Trayvon Merrick in the offseason as one of their starting safeties, but they basically let all their safeties last year walk, and everybody thought it was inevitable that they'd sign one of the bigger name free agent safeties this offseason, either before camp or right as camp started, and they just haven't done so yet. So Damani Richardson clearly seeing an opportunity there in front of him. He grabbed an interception of Bryce Young yesterday, probably one of the biggest plays of camp day 1. And it almost appears that the organization is giving him every opportunity they can to take those first team reps, to be involved as much as possible and to make as many plays as possible before they think about signing somebody else, because it could save them a whole lot of money.
I mean, that's what it's about, though, seeing who's going to step up during training camp and kind of break out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that it's all about opportunities for a lot of younger players, especially when you're kind of where the Panthers are right now. In their minds, they're in year 2 of this rebuild. They're on year 2 of that track. They didn't go out and make a lot of big splashy moves. They made what they called targeted moves, like practical, didn't spend a lot of money on any one player. So that leaves opportunities for younger players who are already here to step up into bigger and more defined roles. And right now, Richardson is showing what he can do, but it was just day 1, and there's a lot more of these, and there's 16 of them in pads that we haven't even gotten to yet. So they're going to have to see it there too, but they've already seen him on the field. He had a big interception of Baker Mayfield last year in a game, and I remember standing at his locker with him. He was clutching the ball. It was first interception ball, and it was a great moment, but, he basically said, I want a lot more of these.
You happy to hear that, Sturdivant?
I am happy to hear that. I am.
All right, Carboni, what changes, any coaching changes or the schemes have you noticed from year to year, defense, offense?
Well, that's kind of the nice thing about this season is for the first time in a handful of years, all the key principal people are back in their same spots. And that goes right down the middle of the organization, from general manager Dan Morgan to head coach Dave Canales to quarterback Bryce Young. And as bad as the defense was last year, they held on to Ejiro Evero, the defensive coordinator, who was a mainstay from the Frank Reich era here in Carolina, the short-lived Frank Reich era. So not only did they retain him with a new head coach, but then they kept him on after a historically bad defensive performance. So the schemes are largely going to be the same. That familiarity has already bred some confidence, I think, out here. But I think what you'll see change is the playbook open up a little more offensively. You've got the addition of Tetairoa McMillan, the first-round pick. You've still got last year's first-round pick, Xavier Legette. You had Chuba Hubbard go for 1,000 yards last year. They brought in another 1,000-yard rusher, Enrico Dowdle, from the Dallas Cowboys, and the offensive line was the biggest group that turned it around last year. They're all back, all 5 guys, at least here on July 23rd, right alongside each other again. And Dave Canales told us at the end of last year, and again a couple months ago in spring workouts, like the way Bryce played last year allowed him to do more in the offense, even at the end of last season. Now he's had a whole offseason to install new stuff for Bryce Young. And Dave Canales is one of those offensive coaches, and I think this is a smart way to do it. You call the plays and design the plays that your players are comfortable with and have success with. Dave Canales has told us before, it's his goal to call a play that his quarterback perks up when he hears it, because he knows he can run it and execute it well.
Yeah, building on that. Sturdivant?
You know, Nick, congratulations. 10. This is your 10th camp, 10 seasons.
Oh, yeah, congrats,
Congratulations, Nick.
Yeah.
Good. He's got a big year.
I appreciate that, and I'm just hoping nobody is holding the record in that 10 years against me.
I do have a question. You mentioned Enrico Dowdle, who they signed in the offseasons from the Cowboys. Realistically, the expectations for the running game, right? So they've been trying to figure it out. Miles Sanders was in the backfield for a couple of years. That didn't work out. Chuba's been the mainstay. How do they plan to balance, or is there a plan to balance Rico and Chuba?
I think you're going to see a lot of both of them, and I think you'll see a good mix of Etienne, the rookie they drafted out of Georgia. He's Travis Etienne's brother from Clemson and now the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Etienne. He brings a little bit of a different component than the 2 other guys do. Chuba Hubbard has worked on his pass-catching game. Rico Dowdle has a pass-catching game. And this is a team and an offense that wants to rely heavily on the run. Dave Canales has been saying it since he got here. You know, didn't always practice what he preached in year 1. Could have had, some moments where he relied on the run a little more, but then you look at the context and they were behind a lot. Bryce Young was struggling, so didn't really maybe get to it as much as they wanted to. And we talk about this offensive line. The strength of every one of these offensive linemen is the run game. So I think you're going to see even more of a commitment to the run game this year. As much as Bryce Young improved last year, it's only going to hope, in their minds, open things up again for him. So, sorry, there's a lot of traffic going on back here, but yeah, I think you're going to see a heavy dose of both Dowdle and Hubbard, and mix in Etienne as well if they have their druthers, right? And that's only going to set Bryce Young up for better situations on 2nd and 3rd downs.
Can I point out something? Carbone's eating good over there at camp. I just want to. I saw cornbread.
How do you know that? There's cornbread at camp?
I saw cornbread somewhere. Carbone, talk about what you're eating.
They are treating us right. There's healthy options. There's hot dogs too. There's all sorts of stuff. Just to take you inside a little bit. So I've been here for 10 years. When I first got here down at Wofford, we ate in the Wofford cafeteria with the players and the coaches. Like, I was making a sandwich on my first day at camp, and I looked to my right, and who's making a sandwich? Cam Newton. So that's kind of how it used to be. That is definitely a little more old school. That was a rarity in the NFL at that point, and it's basically gone from the NFL at this point. But it is nice to feel taken care of and refreshed, because this is where we work all day. It's not just practice. We are here delivering reports for WCNC Charlotte and WCNC Plus through 6 o'clock. So it's needed and appreciated.
All right. Nice. You got to stay hydrated, Nick.
Eat more cornbread for me. I want some cornbread.
Now, does coffee count as hydration? Because I'm drinking plenty of that in these early mornings that I'm not used to.
That's opposite. That's opposite of hydration.
But fuel. Fuel is fuel.
In the machine, right? There's water in the machine.
All right. Everybody is healthy, though, as far as we know?
Yeah, you've got a few guys coming back from slight injuries. Kicker Matthew Wright, who's in a kicking competition when he gets back. I'm sorry, the new punter, Sam Martin. You've got DJ Wanham, the edge last year, still nursing something. He's on the practice field today, not doing a whole lot. Derek Brown is kind of acclimating, getting back to speed, but he has been cleared for all activities after a meniscus injury last year. So, and Bobby Brown, the new defensive tackle, and yes, that is his name. He's coming back from tweaked something in the offseason, but nothing that anybody thinks is serious. So we're a little slow to see all those defensive pieces that they added on the field at once. The big one, though, is veteran linebacker Josie Jewell, released on the eve of camp as he's still experiencing concussion symptoms from late last season, which is scary. But obviously, if they release him, they really think, he may not be playing again anytime soon. And the important thing there is just taking care of the player and the player taking care of himself. So we'll see what happens with that. That's kind of the biggest loss to the defense in the last couple of days.
Oh, bummer.
One thing I've noticed, folks think Bryce is, and he is, like a quiet guy, but he gets a little chippy out there in practice.
Yeah, so yesterday at the beginning of practice, I saw that, it was like Bryce Young was just making some light throws to the side, Andy Dalton and the other quarterback, Jack Plummer. But then I look, and J.C. Horn, the Pro Bowl cornerback, and his fellow starting cornerback, Mike Jackson, were standing right there, and there's two big fields. Only the quarterbacks were on this field. The defense was supposed to be way far away. And so I asked J.C. after practice, were you doing what I think you were doing? Like, were you trying to get in their heads a little bit? He's like, absolutely. So are we going to roll that soundbite? Because it was good stuff.
Yep, here we go.
Competing, again, they're great competitors. And right now training camp is we'll be a team on Sundays, but right now it's offense versus defense. So we're going back and forth with each other, just want to make each other better and make the team better.
Yeah, trying to get in their head a little bit. We was catching the ball, we was warming up, so they can get used to throwing it to us. So yeah, it was it was a fun little warm up.
So that trash talk is actually a continuation of minicamp where they were going back and forth. And J.C. Horn told me in minicamp, that's a sign of progress for this franchise is to be that competitive out here on the practice field. So I thought that was very interesting, and both guys acknowledged it. And guess what? I got here today, 10 o'clock, quarterback's warming up. Guess who's standing right there? J.C. Horn. So
awesome.
They're not backing down. It's going to be a fun battle between offense and defense, especially as we get into those hot days and padded practices.
All right, we look forward to a full second day of training camp and to hear from you and Danielle later on at 3:30. Nick, thanks for checking in with us here this morning.
You got it, guys. Have a good one. Thank you.
All right, you too. Take care. All right. Are you okay there, Sturdivant?
I'm good. I'm pacing out my questions because we're only day 2 in the training camp, so I don't want to ask all the questions.
It's still early.
You don't want to spoil.
It's still early. Carlene always gives me that look. It's still early.
It's still early.
It's still early. It is still early. It's still early, but it's exciting.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
I got a chance to talk to Nick for a little bit. I call him Carboni. I don't really call him Nick.
I call him
Carboni. I saw Carboni after the 4 o'clock show. We chopped it up for a bit, and he's having a good time out there at Panthers training. We talked about years ago, back in Spartanburg when they had training camp at Wofford College. I worked in Greensboro for on and off for about 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Our sports department, when they would go, oh my goodness, it was hot. It was so hot.
Yeah. It's hot. I've been to Wofford several times.
Mm-hmm.
I had a relationship that was there, so I went there quite a bit. It is still hot. There's no breeze in Spartanburg.
No breeze, right?
It's a throwback from the 80s, 90s type of training camp. Because they were there. Wofford is a small school.
It's a small school. It's a pretty school. It's a small
dorms
school.
and everything. It's now the players they can go to training camp and they can go back home.
Right.
This is in Uptown. So just talking to Nick or Carboni rather about the evolution of camp, and he talked about the meals. This man is eating cornbread. He's eating cornbread.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all. That would make you happy.
That
Eating
make
well.
me very happy.
Eating well. Cornbread.
Eating
Do you not like cornbread?
I like it fine.
I like it.
I like it fine.
Can we throw a wrench in this? Sure. So we had a bread conversation, and Jane was looking at me like I lost my mind.
Why?
Okay, Carlene, I know you can relate to this one.
Okay.
The yeast rolls at Golden Corral.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
What do you
right?
think?
They're good.
They're good.
They're good. Fine. They're fine.
They're good. Yeah. You know, I was thinking of, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
Ryan's. Do you remember
Yeah.
Ryan's? They had the rolls, the butter rolls. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's in. Oh my gosh.
Amazing.
Go to town. We go to town.
The brown bread at Outback.
Outback. I haven't had Outback in a long, but I remember that brown bread.
Brown.
And the blooming onion, of course. But yeah, the bread was good.
Look at Jane.
All right.
Why?
Because no, there's nothing wrong with those breads, but that's where he went to immediately when we were talking about butter, because those butter sculptures at the Ohio Fair,
Oh, yeah,
a
they
2,000
always do a
pound
big- oh, yeah.
thing
What's
of
wrong
butter,
with
and I
it?
said, "Oh, bring out a French baguette. I'm all over.
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Nah, you
he
need
said,
that.
"Oh no, the brown bread at Outback." I go, "That's
Texas-
where you
the
went."
Texas Roadhouse bread. They got bread too.
They do. They
and
all
the peanuts on
have
the
good
floor.
bread.
Right.
That's the ambiance
Yes, no,
that me and Nick go
Well,
for.
yeah, that's what I'm
You're
saying.
big.
I like that.
You
Those
want
are
the
good breads.
fancy-
I'm like,
Bakery,
where's
patisserie.
No, I want
I'm like,
the
give
brown
me the
bread.
Amelie's.
Nah.
You're going deep.
Baguette.
Me and Nick are
I
like
wa-
Texas
Roadhouse
Roadhouse.
bread.
I want peanuts on the ground.
I want some. I need to step on something.
Oh,
like,
my goodness.
yeah, Jane, come on.
No,
Jane.
I'm good with the bread.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's where he
What's
went
your
to
favorite
first.
bread? If you had to put a favorite bread up.
Oh
The
man, yeah, I'm
baguettes.
gonna sound like a bread snob now. No, really, it's like a baguette. It's like
yeah,
a French
sure.
baguette.
That's your go-to. That's the hill that you're going.
I am not gonna die on that hill. You will not get me on this bread hill. Yeah. So anyway,
we're all going to take a group trip to Golden Corral so you can get some of those yeast rolls.
all right, we'll take WCNC Plus to
And the
Golden
Red
Corral.
Lobster biscuits. I have to throw that out there.
I-
Okay,
I
I'm done.
like-
I'm
I've never
done.
been to Red
I'm done.
Lobster.
You've never been
I've
to
never been to Red Lobster.
I like them too.
Jane? Have you been to Red Lobster?
Probably when I was 8.
Really?
Yeah, but and I think they're all closing down
just-
too.
No, they're having a resurgence.
A research. Their biscuits are sold at Costco. You can bake them at home by yourself.
Try 'em like that.
So
Yeah, I've never been to the Red Lobster.
I am.
there's
I have plenty of seafood places in Charleston to go
I
to.
mean,
I won't
yeah.
go to the Red Lobster.
Yeah.
And you're,
Yeah,
you're in
but-
Miami, so yeah.
Yeah.
We had other options.
I'm just
all right,
confused,
Sturdivant.
befuddled.
You go ahead on you.
sorry, I'm
You
sorry.
take that
I
hill.
won't
You
speak
take that
ill.
breadbasket hill to GC and Outback. No offense to
just
them.
saying.
They're good.
They're good.
Oh
They're
man,
good. Just fine.
Well, I've
All
got
right.
another person from the 336 here in the newsroom, so they can relate.
Okay.
All right, I'll hush.
You
You're gonna
can't go a day without mentioning it.
You're gonna
I'm
have
just saying, I got to rep my hometown.
you're gonna have Danielle Stein later on. Let's get this back
I will
on,
not
on
have
the
Danielle
rails.
Stein. She will be at 3:30.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's at 3:30. So
That's
it'll be
right.
Sweet
Sorry,
Vanessa or
Sweet Vanessa.
Colin.
Yeah, it'll be Vanessa and Colin.
All
Yeah.
right. Well,
I'm sad about
what are you working on today? Who do we have coming on?
Oh,
12:30.
Let me pull it up.
Walker Lawson will be in at 1 o'clock. He'll join us via Zoom. He's talking about affordable housing in Davidson. You think about Davidson, it's a community that's growing.
Yeah.
And more people are moving there. And when more people move to a community, it gets more expensive.
Yeah, and it gets bigger.
For affordable
Yeah.
housing development there. Miles is at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, Mount Pleasant.
Oh.
Water conservation.
Yeah, so they're asking residents there to conserve water. And as you
Okay.
know, it's going to get hot.
It's hot.
It's already hot, so it's going to get hotter.
Bouquet showed us the 7-day earlier, and
Yeah.
it was a lot of red.
It is
lot
pretty.
of red days coming up.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
those weather alert days.
Weather alert day starting Saturday.
Yeah.
And Bill Belichick.
Oh yeah.
We're going to hear from
right.
Bill Belichick. He had a.
Oh yes, he had a press
Over
conference
in
this
Chapel
morning.
Hill, yeah.
They're sold out
Mm-hmm.
at Keenan.
A lot of excitement. My Heels, my Tar Heels. I couldn't really rep the Tar Heels when I worked in Raleigh because you had to
kinda-
cover,
yeah,
to cover
I
both
understand that.
teams. But I'm repping now. I'm in Charlotte.
Yeah.
So
now
there
you can do
go.
whatever you want.
I can do whatever I want.
You're Nick Sturdivant.
I'm Jay Mario. No, I'm just.
Can only be one. Can only be one. All right. Well, good. Got a full show then. 12:30 in Live Impact News. And I think that's going to do it for all of us here.
We're almost done here.
At the Live Impact Studio.
Yeah.
We're going to
Yeah.
Outback after this.
I wouldn't mind going. I would love a blooming onion. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds delish.
It's open almost.
Is it
11
where?
a.m.
Where is
almost
one?
open. I don't know.
You got to go to the. You got to go to the burbs.
Go near a mall or something, right?
No, there's one in Pineville down the
Okay.
street.
All
I
right.
passed
Oh
it the
yes.
other day.
Yep.
Okay.
I've
So-
driven by that one.
so,
All right.
yeah.
Well,
You
there's
just
your.
gotta pull in
There's your lunch
into the
break.
parking
Take
lot.
us.
Take us out back.
All right. Thank you, Sturdivant. Thank you, Carlene, Miss Bragg.
Thank you.
All right. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you
Miss
back
Jane.
here at 12:30 with Nick Sturdivant. Charlotte Today is up next. Thanks for.